Patty Hearst kidnapping. In 1974, 19-year-old Patty Hearst was a student at Berkeley University in California, USA. She was also the daughter of Rodolph Hearst, the rich owner of several newspapers. Patty was living in an apartment in Bienvenue Street, Berkeley, at that time with her boyfriend, Stephen Witt. He was a teacher at the university. On the evening of February 4th, two men broke into the apartment, knocked Stephen on the head, and pulled Patty out of the apartment building to a car which was waiting outside. For the next 3 days, her parents waited by the phone for some word from the kidnappers. Then, a local radio station revised the first message from a group calling themselves the Symbionese Liberation Army, SLA, a small but dangerous group of terrorists. The message was from their leader, a man calling himself Sinqui, who was later discovered to be a criminal who had escaped from prison. His real name was Donald DeFries. DeFries said that Patty Hearst was now a prisoner of the SLA. Other people in the group were 27-year-old Nancy Lynn Perry, William Wolf, 24-year-old Camilla Howe, William and Emily Harris, Patricia Sortisilk, and Angela Atwood. A cassette from Patty's voice on it was sent to the radio station. She told her parents that she was alright and that the kidnappers were not hurting her. The next message was an order from the terrorist group to Randolph Hearst. They told him that he must give $70 worth of food to everyone in California who was on welfare. People on welfare were those who were unable to work or couldn't find work, and were being given money to live on by the government. There were about 6 million of them in California. Hearst refused. It would cost more than $400 million, he said, and he wasn't rich enough to pay out that much money. But he did give $2 million to start an organization called People in Need, which gave food to the poor people in California. It was not enough for the kidnappers, and Patty remained a prisoner. On DC, on April 3rd, another cassette from Patty's voice on it arrived. This time, she told her parents that she had joined the SLA and was not a prisoner anymore. She said that her name was now Tanya, that she was fighting for the freedom of all black people, and that she would never again live with her parents or people like them. She was now one of the gang of terrorists. But did she join them because it was the only way she could be sure they wouldn't kill her? This was what her parents believed. Or was she sincere around wanting to help the gang? It was a question that would be asked many times in the future. The answer seemed to come on April 15th, when she and others from the gang robbed the Hibernia Bank in San Francisco. Cameras inside the bank took pictures of Patty holding a gun and telling customers to get down on the floor or they would be shot. Then, a few weeks later, two of the gang, William and Emily Harris, were caught stealing from a sports shop in Los Angeles. They managed to get away only when Patty, who had been waiting in a van across the street, used a gun to help them. Nobody was hurt, but all three of the gang escaped in the van. The police and many other people were now sure that Patty Hearst was a common criminal. Later, police heard from someone close to the gang that the terrorists were living at 1466 East 54th Street in Los Angeles. Immediately, more than 300 policemen with guns were sent to surround the building, and the guards were told to come out with their hands up. Tear gas was used to try to get them out, but the terrorists replied by shooting at the police. There was a 40-minute gun battle with over 6,000 shots. Then Nancy Lynn Perry tried to run from the house but was shot dead by police. Next, the house caught fire, and Camilla Howe tried to get out but was shot. Patricia, Salty Silk, Angetta Atwood, and William Wolfe were burned to death in the fire. But Donald DeFries appeared to have shot himself in the head before the fire could kill him. The bodies of Patty Hearst and William and Emily Harris were not found in what was left on the building on East 54th Street. They, it seemed, had not been in the house at the time. It was more than a year later, in September 1975, in an apartment in San Francisco, the Patty Hearst was finally caught. Emily and William Harris were also arrested. During that year, the three of them had robbed two banks, and Emily Harris had killed a customer in one of them. Patty Hearst was sent for trial in February 1976, where she told the jury that everything she had done was to avoid being killed by the SLA. She said that she had been locked in a cupboard for several weeks until she agreed to do what they asked. By then, she said, she was so ill she was ready to believe that say anything that they told her to say. But the jury, 7 of whom were women, found a good deal of bank robbery, and Patty Hearst was sent to prison for 7 years. Her parents worked hard to get her free, and slowly, the public came to believe that Patty Hearst was not completely to blame for everything she had done. And on February 1st, 1979, she walked out of prison a free woman. Thanks for listening.